Women can't stop men going their own way.
Keeps getting turned down. Eventually, the passion will die. Guys want sex a minimum of a couple times a week, and ideally, they want a woman who doesn't have to be asked.
You want sexy time constantly? Yeah, of course.
I wouldn't say that, but like I wouldn't write that in a book. They was spitting on that one. I don't know.
If you ask a friend constantly to hang out and they say no, eventually you're gonna be like, fuck, I'm not even gonna ask anymore.
Women can't stop men going their own way. Guys, things are getting crazy right now. A lot of women are furious because they see that men are not dating anymore, and they are going absolutely ballistic on platforms like TikTok and even on YouTube. Watch the end of the video to fully understand the reasons why women can't stop men going their own way and the implications it's going to have on society and women going forward. And now let's just go ahead and jump right into the very first video.
Going on rising gas prices, food prices, rising rent. It's harder for millennials to get in homes. Again, this is not to say that it can't happen, but it's just a lot harder. And a lot of the conversations we have online regarding relationships are aspirational, meaning they are based upon maybe the top 10%. But most of us ain't living like that. Most of us aren't in $1 million or a couple of $1 million. Most of us aren't even sitting on six figures. And if we are sitting on six figures, we're in a place like the Bay Area or New York or Chicago where six figures is basically just minimum wage, when it comes to cost of living. So most of us are not living that high life. Yet we're having these conversations and there's these expectations, especially put on men. Men should be expected to pay in today's economy, especially given that. And so I think that is a lot of the tension that I've heard. And I just want to hear from y'all.
Guys, most of these women don't ever want to actually admit that it's more than just the money. The money is a big factor where women expect men to give them lives of luxury and comfort, while they offer nothing in return and say that a man that expects anything from a woman is not a real man and he's not very intelligent. That's what women are saying on social media now. The interesting thing, however, is that if you notice, she won't actually admit that things like M2 scorched the earth. She won't admit that the way that women treat men, speak to men, all right, the way that women behave in society, all of this that's been happening over the last 20 years plus has taken a toll on men. Men are completely done. You have either men who are walking away from relationships in Western society, relationships in Western society and going overseas to become passport kings if they want to find a woman overseas, or you have MGTOWs who are walking away from relationships, society, and saying that we don't want any of these things. We want to separate ourselves socially, financially, and economically from relationships and the state. And that's what's happening right now. And many of them, they don't understand. Like they're the biggest cheerleaders of MGTOW. They're the ones who are pushing MGTOW. They're the ones who are pushing men to MGTOW with the behavior. And there's no coming back because many of them will act like, oh, I don't know why men are acting like this. I don't know why men would be upset. They just don't want to be adults. They just don't want to grow up. Who hurt you? Someone hurt you. You wouldn't say these things. You wouldn't have this perspective. I hope you find someone who helps you to heal. Or once you've grown up, you can start to develop relationships with women again because you're not ready. Okay, you're not ready, and men like you honestly are a danger. They're never going to stop, guys. That's just another form of gaslighting and deflecting blame and redirecting blame back to men. Okay, it's miserable. But guess what? Most men aren't even playing anymore. That's why some of these men are doing MGTOW. All right, guys, let me make this clear. I am not an advocate for MGTOW. I am not a proponent for it. I am not celebrating it. I am not telling men. I'm not pushing it. I am not a part of it. But who the proponents are? Do you know the ones who are celebrating it? Do you know the ones who are the biggest cheerleaders? Modern day women. Modern day women are the greatest cheerleaders of MGTOW. Because the things that they are doing, their actions, I want men and women to have healthy relationships. I want men and women to have children. I want men and women to have productive lives. I think that when men and women are to, work together, it's great, and we produce stable economies and countries, but that's not going to happen anymore. All right, because of what's happened, men have been not only demoralized, but they have been destroyed. The family unit is destroyed in Western society. Men have been stripped of everything, and they're gaslit at every point. And then they're told that if you're not giving your value to women and to the state, then you're not a real man. All right, you don't even call yourself a boy. You're a nothing. This is what they're putting out there, and they think that this is going to bring men back. There are some women that are beginning to screech and holler at the Sims and women who are putting this message out because they're saying that what you're doing is you're the ones who are pushing men away because real men don't just give their value up to anyone. Real men don't just help people that they don't know just because they're men. Take women on $500 dates and cash app them before going out. Those are not men. Those are tricks. And that's what women are. That's what some women are saying. And they're like, listen, what's his name? Umar. Mr. Umar. This guy has created so many disparities. He's basically told a lot of women as well that they don't have to be responsible. They are above the law. They can get away with whatever they want to do. You see, like they're the women who are committing crimes, and then black women who they're, and it's not a matter of them being black. But there are women who've been committing crimes who are African American. And then what happens with Umar? He basically says, I'm just gonna hug her and tell her, baby, don't do that anymore. Bro, this is a criminal. She has to be held accountable. And when women see other women are not being held accountable for doing very bad things in society, they're going to get the belief that, oh, well, she did it, so can I. Okay? And that's going to have catastrophic effects. All right. You will not always get away with it. Men are now convinced. A lot of men are now convinced that women are untouchable. All right. A lot of women are convinced that they're untouchable. And a lot of men are now convinced that they're untouchable. And as a result, no matter what happens in society with women, men will just basically walk away or go their own way. And women will be shocked when they realize that they are not untouchable, but they will keep on pushing this behavior and this narrative because it makes them feel good, knowing that they'd rather believe that they're powerful and unstoppable than accepting the reality that they are not, and that they are at the mercy of the world. Gosh, my gosh, my God! I tell you guys, it's so sickening.
Happened to men pursuing girls? When was the pivotal moment that a man chose to not go after a girl anymore or put in any effort? It seems like guys can just put the bare minimum and not even really put in effort anymore. They don't really care to. Or they're like, why don't girls just go and make the first move and make the effort? When did it become a thing? Now it's like role reversal where they expect girls to be making the first moves, yearning for a guy and chasing him. That is, I feel like, the downfall of why it's so hard to meet someone, because men don't put in effort.
There's plenty of pivotal moments. How about when a woman called a man weak for opening her car door? Or the time that men pursued women on dating apps and him saying, hey, how are you, wasn't good enough? How about the pivotal moment when a man is looking out into the open and happens to glance in a woman's direction and somehow he's undressing her with his eyes? Or how about the moment when women considered everything the bare minimum and nothing is ever good enough? Or what about the pivotal moment where men have to fix everything in a relationship to make it work and women have to simply exist? Or how about the time there was a study done that said 80% of women find men unattractive, so why would they try anymore? Or the pivotal moment where men can be accused of SA or grape at any given moment by accident just because a woman is pissed off because she was rejected.
Guys, think about that very, very carefully. I keep on telling you, 80% of women find most men as unattractive. 80% of women find 95% of men as unattractive. 95%. Okay? That's insane numbers. Insane numbers. No one in their right mind would still be out there even trying to date, because you would realize that they're just trying to take advantage of you. They're just trying to get free meals off you. They're just trying to use you for whatever value that you have. All right? 6'6", 6 feet tall, at least 6 feet tall, at least 6 inches. 6 feet tall, 6-pack, and makes above 6 figures. Guys, that's a plan B guy. And what's happening now? Women are saying that that's not good enough anymore. They're saying that's not good enough anymore. They are shaming men who are 6 feet tall. They're calling guys who are 6'4" short kings. You can't make this stuff up. The reason why they're doing this is because they want to humiliate a man. All right. They want to humiliate you and make you feel small. That's why they would go around calling a man who is 6 feet or 6'4" a short king. They want to humiliate you. All right. They want to make you feel small and make you feel less than you actually are. Look at this comment that I got on, MGTOW has men going their own way has won. This, Yacht says, a lady of the night is less expensive than any woman in a relationship. And at least and she knows, what it's about and won't decline what you paid for. And let me make this very, very clear. You still have to be careful with some of these women because they will try to take, that's one thing I will say about the lady of the night thing. You have to be very, very careful because there are a lot of these women, especially in today's society, where you'll meet them, you'll pay for something, and then you don't realize that they've set you up. And we don't talk about it enough, all right? Men who've been involved in this thing, men who've done it, they'll sit there like, oh, well, every time I've done it, it's been perfect. I've never had any problems. I don't give a damn if you've always had, I don't give a damn if every experience, every time you've done it, I've done it over 100 times and I've never had any problems. That's fine, bro. It doesn't work like that for everyone. There's a lot of women out there that are trying to set dudes up and take advantage of them and use them because they don't want to give them anything, but they want to get their money, all right? Trust me, I know. You have to be very, very careful. So don't just like tell young men also that like this is the way to go. Now, don't get me wrong. It depends on where you go. For example, if you go to like somewhere like you go to a gentleman's club in like in overseas or certain places, you could definitely find some advantages over there. And it's not all downhill, but you have to be very, very careful. You don't want to get a disease. You don't want to be set up, and you want to make sure that you are constantly safe because you don't know who's watching you. All right. But still, compared to everything else, compared to what we are working with in Western society, you don't want to end up getting arrested. That's another thing too. So you need to know what you're doing. But with that said, it's still a much better deal than what you're getting out here in Western society with modern women who can accuse you of anything at any time, even after you've just paid the bill. There are so many restaurants where they'll literally have a sign that tells women if they feel uncomfortable on the date, they just need to speak to a server, signal a server, and they'll call the police. Call the police, y'all. All right. Like you have to be an idiot to be out there going on a date now where if a woman just feels uncomfortable, all right, they'll have the police come and the police will escort you out the restaurant like you did something. Oh, you made her, she just feels uncomfortable. And then she'll make up something like, oh, he said something, he said something or he did something, blah, blah, blah. And you end up with you end up with a restraining order against you. And that's like the best case scenario. Like best case scenario, you end up with a restraining order. Worst case scenario, you end up in jail. You've got to be kidding me. You've got to be kidding me. All right, and you still had to pay the bill, which was like $500. Get out of here. Get out of here. Heck no. This is why so many men are going their own ways. They're not going to stop it. Women cannot stop MGTOW. They can push for it to be banned. They can do whatever they want. They can't stop it because they're the biggest advocates of it. They're the ones pushing men towards it.
Since I have some awesome guys on TikTok right now listening, I'm thinking, may I have your opinion, please? What is it with men these days and not wanting to date? Do you guys have a fear of commitment? Is it the woman these days? Does it have anything to do with spending money on women? Does it have anything to do with trust issues? Maybe dating apps? Maybe you feel like there are endless options in terms of significant
Endless options, guys. They are gaslighting so hard. She is gaslighting men so hard. Oh, why would men not want to date us? Why are you doing this? Guys, these are the same women who take advantage of men. They take advantage of men and they act like they don't know why men don't want to date anymore. All right. And all they're doing by making these videos are trying to gain attention by poking fun of the fact that men are abused and have been abused for years in the dating market. All right. In relationships and marriages. And society has sat by, not only allowed it, but incentivized it and profited off it. It's sick. It is absolutely sickening. Guys, the future is basically a lot of women are going to end up in states of destitution because the state is not capable of providing for them. Men are no longer subsidizing their living. I said this already, that the simp economy is moving overseas and women will be facing significant amounts of hardship going forward. By the way, guys, if you're enjoying the content, subscribe to our newsletter for my personal thoughts, insights, and a free copy of my ebook, The Blueprint for Escaping the Rat Race. Click the link in the description to get your free copy. Guys, what do you think regarding all of this? Women can't stop men going their own way. Let me know your thoughts and we'll talk about it in the comments. Like the video if you like it. Don't forget to subscribe. And if you like the video, share the video. And just remember that all roads lead to MWA Men walking away. And cheers.